In this video, you're going to take a trip down memory lane with me as I recall some of the cake decorating trends from when I first started making cakes. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I've been making cakes since about 2002, and I was looking through my old pictures not too long ago and remembering all these trends that came and went as I've been a cake decorator over the past over 20 years. Now, I didn't do up until present day. I was looking at pictures from between 2002 to 2012, so it was a 10-year span. But I want to show you the evolution of cake decorating trends in the early 2000s. So I have 15 different categories, and we will start with the first one. And that is sheet cakes. Now everybody knows, well, not everybody, if you watch my channel, I've talked about it, but I had a sheet cake phase when I first started. Sheet cakes were really popular back in the day. It's before custom cakes really became a thing. So that's what I started with. And I'm gonna put all these pictures over here. Some of them will be repeats because some of these trends are on multiple cakes. But anyway, all the pictures are over here. And I started by making a few basic cakes. I started by doing all buttercream, and then I learned how to do characters in a different way. I started adding fondant and bows and making my sheet cakes more interesting over the years. I rarely make sheet cakes anymore, but I do have a video showing you how I make them. I think 2 of them, and I will link them below. On to trend number 2. And that is the fondant ball borders. And this is an old school way of cake decorating to me. People still request it, and I just feel it's a little dated, but whatever. If you want to order ball borders on your cake, that's fine. You're paying for it. But the reason why I don't really love them is because you have to roll each individual one, and if you want to make them all the same size, it can get a little tedious. But it was just an old school way that we used to put borders around our cakes. The third cake decorating trend is the big package bows. Now, when I first started, I didn't know how to make them, so here's one cake I made for my friend, and I stuck an inedible, whatever, bow on the top, which looks horrible. But then I learned how to make the bows and the loops, and then you have to put all the loops together, and it was just a big trend. People wanted them on their cakes all the time. And I really like how they look. People really don't order that anymore, but I would love to make it again. On to trend number 4. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the package bows on top. There was a time where I was making gift boxes with big bows or big rings on them. I don't know how that became a thing. I wonder if other people were making that, or if it was just because I made them and people saw the pictures and wanted to order them. But I made the big boxes with the rings or the shoes or the bows so many times. And I do have videos showing you how I make fondant bows, how I make the fondant shoes, and how I do something like the panel method to make boxes. So I will link all of them in the description. On to trend number 5, and that is decorations on wires. This was my jam. For the longest time, I would just stick the wire. Now, you don't stick them directly in the cake. And I do have a video showing you how to put wires in cakes correctly, and that will be linked below. But I would put them in a straw. So I put the straws in the cakes, fill the straw with icing, and then stick the wires in. I did this for so many cakes. Like I said, it was my jam. I just felt my cake looked naked without it, and I used to put it on everything. I still do. Here are some recent cakes that I have with some wires on it, and I still do it every now and then, but not as much as I did before. The 6th cake decorating trend from the early 2000s is zebra and or leopard print. Zebra print was everywhere. People wanted it on their birthday cakes, on their communion cakes, on any kind of cake. They wanted the zebra numbers and the zebra borders and the zebra all over the cake. It was just a thing. And then leopard print also started to become a thing. And I got a leopard print stencil, which was the only way that I could get it on the cake. Leopard print can be a little challenging, but I learned how to do a little bit of airbrushing to make it look more authentic. And then there's some cakes that have both zebra and leopard. Just those animal prints were huge in the early 2000s. And I still do it nowadays, but it's really for cakes that are just animal themed rather than just having the print on the cake. The 7th cake decorating trend from the early 2000s, and I actually really like this one, and I didn't realize how much I did it until I started looking for a bunch of old pictures, was the bridal gown with the bridesmaid dresses all over. And this was something that I think it was from a Wilton design book or something that had this idea, and I just kind of ran with it. And once people started seeing me post the pictures, they wanted this same design. It was really fun to make, actually. I kind of wish that somebody would order it so I could make it again and just see how much better I am at doing this. But how adorable are they? Now we get into the animal trends because these come in and out all the time. So the trend number 8 is ducks, and it was baby ducks and ducks in a bucket and little rubber duckies. Ducks were a thing for a long time. Sometimes my ducks, like this one, looks like it has lip filler. I don't know what was going on with that. But they got a little bit easier to make the more that I did it. And I think it's just a super cute theme. This one I really did love. On to cake decorating trend number 9. And that is another animal, which is monkeys. Monkeys were so popular for a while, and monkeys are one of the very few animals that I will make in 3D because I find them relatively easy, although I'd much rather make two-dimensional ones like this, but I like my 2D and 3D monkeys, and I kind of wish that this came back too because I really do like making these. The 10th cake decorating trend from the early 2000s is owls. And why did I say it like that? Owls. But anyway, I loved the owl theme. This was the first one that I made and I loved it so much. And then this is the second one I made and I loved it so much. And I don't know, the owl theme was so much fun for me to do. I always loved getting those orders and I loved how every single owl cake that I made turned out. But again, with the owls, I just like these animals, like the ducks, the monkeys, the owls. I love cute little animal themes because I feel like they're pretty easy for me to do and they turn out so cute. On to number 11. I'm running out of hands. And that is martinis. And martini cakes were so much fun to make and they were really big. At least, I don't know if this was because I made it and then I posted the picture of the cake and then people saw that cake and wanted it, or if martinis were actually a thing. But I made many martini cakes over the years and I've actually made a few recent ones as well. On to number 12. And that is the beer mug with the beer pouring in it. And I do have a video showing you how I do that, and that will be linked below. And I actually still make these every now and then, but they're not as popular as they were in the early 2000s. So you can kind of see the evolution of my beer mug and beer pour, because when I first started, it was kind of a mess. And then, just like I always say, as you keep practicing, you get better. You figure out what you can and can't do and what looks better. And then my most recent ones look like this, which is way better than when I first started. But the beer pour mug, and I've done it with like Pepsi and other liquids, that was pretty popular back in the day. On to number 13. And that is the giant cupcake cake. And I do have a video, and I made it recently, on how to make a really big cupcake, and that will be linked below. But I think I made this, the big cupcake, more than any of these other cake decorating themes. I do love it. It is a little labor intensive, but once I learned how to make the chocolate shell out of the Wilton cupcake pan, which I do show in that video, my cupcakes turned out so much better. And if you watch my channel, you know I love making cakes that look like food. They're just so much fun to make, and I always love the way that my cupcake cakes turn out. And here's the most recent one that I've made. I don't get too many requests to make these anymore. However, I do still love the big cupcake cake. On to number 14. And this is my least favorite of all of the themes, and you may know what I'm about to say. And that is the pregnant belly cakes and the stupid baby bum cakes. I hate putting body parts on cakes. It's so annoying to me, especially with the stupid foot in the belly, and it was a thing. Like, people just wanted feet on their cake. It was so weird. But I made it. Some of them I hated. Some of them, like this one, were pretty cute. I never liked any of the baby bum cakes. They were just super weird and annoying to me, so I'm super glad that this trend is over. And the last one is topsy-turvy or tapered cakes. Now, topsy-turvy cakes are when the cakes are on an angle, and I do have a video showing you how I make them, and I will link that below. Or tapered cakes, where they're a little wider at the top and tapered at the bottom. I really don't remember doing this too much, but it was a thing. As I was going through old videos, I used to taper my cakes. I feel like it gave it a more professional look. I don't know. Now, I still do topsy-turvy cakes every now and then, but they are nowhere near as popular as they were in the early 2000s. And I feel like cake decorating trends come and go much quicker nowadays as people are more skilled and there's more cake decorators out there coming up with new trends. There is the loaded or the drip cake. That one's pretty popular. The heart or Lambeth old school buttercream piping cake. And recently the burn away cake, that has become really popular. And I've just seen, I haven't made one before, so I'll find a picture that I found online. This is not my cake, but the cake that stands up, that's cut in half, that has a frame around it, that's a new trend. So there's tons of new trends. So I'm pretty excited to look back 10 years from now and see what we think about these current trends. So that's it for my list. What did I miss? What have you made multiple times back in the day that no longer really is around? I would love to know. Leave it in the comments below. And just a reminder, I do have ebooks with all of my favorite recipes. I have my signature scratch pound cake recipes, my best doctored cake mix recipes, my buttercream icing and filling recipes, along with my favorite numbers and my favorite fonts. So they will all be linked below. And I do have a Cake Academy membership program where I can help you elevate your cakes to the next level. All of that information is in the description. Please like this video if you liked it, and if you're enjoying my tutorials, I would be so grateful. Why did I say it like that? If you would buy me a coffee, my link is down below. And I would love it if you would keep in touch on socials and you can check out my website. And if you want to stick around, you can watch this video next and hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. And remember, it's cake, have fun. I will see you on the next one. Bye.